In the early 2000s, Jason Derulo had the pen, the pipes, and the pop appeal. Before he was shouting his own name in every song,
Jason Derulo.
he was quietly writing hits for some of the biggest artists on the planet. Then came his solo debut, and suddenly the kid from Florida was shirtless on stage, spinning midair and hitting those high notes like his life depended on it. It looked like he was about to moonwalk straight into R&B royalty, but he didn't.
Sure didn't. He showed his moonwalk somewhere. I guess you're gonna let us know where he ended up, Charlie. It wasn't R&B royalty, that's for sure.
Somewhere between the acrobatics, social media thirst traps, and auto-tuned anthems, something shifted. What once burned bright suddenly felt cold, mechanical, and curated for clicks instead of connection.
Y'all know we don't like that over here. We prefer connection. Every time.
So how did Jason go from being R&B's golden boy to a walking meme with a ring light? Let's find out. But before we jump into today's tomfoolery, don't forget to scoop up something to munch on at rrgsnacks.com, our online concession stand that has an assortment of Applewood smoked bacon jerky, freeze-dried goodies, and butter toffee peanuts. Born in 1989 in Florida to Haitian parents, 4-year-old Jason saw Michael Jackson glide across the stage and knew he wanted to be an entertainer. He dove into opera, ballet, and theater because if he was going to be an entertainer, he was going to master every angle of it. By the age of 8, he'd written his first song. He was barely old enough to drive, but was already on the radar of heavyweights like Pitbull, Lil Wayne, and Pleasure P. He was writing hits and making his own money while most kids his age were begging their parents for an allowance.
But they little big in asses.
But Jason didn't want to just write the songs. He wanted to be the one performing them. After appearing on Showtime at the Apollo, he won the grand prize in 2006. Seeing his star potential, he was quietly signed to Beluga Heights Records. He got to work on his debut album, and in 2009, lightning struck. His debut single, What You Say, dropped in May 2009 and was an instant hit, reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The world suddenly knew how to pronounce Derulo, and Jason made sure they'd never forget it by literally singing his name in every song like a built-in marketing strategy. Later that year, his song In My Head climbed to #5, solidifying his status as the next big thing in pop and R&B. The industry was eating it up. American Idol judge Simon Cowell predicted Jason would be huge. Lady Gaga called him a frickin' superstar and even made him one of her opening acts for the Monster Ball tour. In February 2010, his self-titled debut album was released. It reached #11 on the Billboard 200, stayed there for 34 weeks, and went platinum. Then came his second album, Future History, in 2011. It featured the single Don't Wanna Go Home, which landed at #14 on the Hot 100. That album was also certified gold. But here's the thing about being on top. Gravity never forgets your name.
What goes up must come down. Shana. That's a word.
He had the talent, the discipline, and the drive, but in the music industry, that's not always enough. Sometimes that same energy that takes you to the top is the very thing that pulls you back down. And for Jason, that fall was coming fast and without a safety net.
Buckle up, baby. Buckle up.
While Jason was determined to capitalize on his rising fame, not everyone was convinced he was ready for the throne. Critics began to notice the cracks beneath the gloss. The BBC called his debut album hollow, fake, muddled, and drenched in auto-tune. Reviews for his second album were also mixed, with Entertainment Weekly saying that while Jason swung hard, he often missed and wasn't rooted in any genre outside of people-pleasing pop. Others described the album as safe, synthetic, and too commercial, like a body without a heartbeat. And for the first time, the numbers agreed. Future History sold about half of what his debut album did. The spark that once made listeners rush to buy his music had dimmed. Singles like Breathing and Fight For You made respectable chart appearances but didn't linger in the public's mind. Jason wasn't ready to hear all that, though. He had built his entire identity around being unstoppable. So slowing down wasn't an option. He doubled down, working harder, moving faster, chasing that high of validation that had once come so easily. But Jason was about to learn that even the most carefully choreographed career can crumble when the spotlight becomes too bright to stand in. With a growing fan base in the UK, Jason was preparing for his biggest tour yet in 2012. It was supposed to be the moment he proved that his fame wasn't a fluke and that he could hold his own as a true global superstar. During rehearsals, in a moment that was meant to test his endurance and impress his team, he attempted 50 consecutive back tucks.
What in the Simone Biles is going on here?
The crew members cheered him on, up until the final flip when Jason landed wrong and snapped a vertebra in his neck. Doctors called it the type of fracture that can easily leave someone paralyzed. The timing couldn't have been worse. Just as he was hitting a new stride, Jason found himself confined to a neck brace, his tour canceled, and his independence stripped away. He couldn't tie his own shoes, take a shower, or even hold his head upright without pain. When he finally returned to the spotlight, it seemed like fate was giving him a second chance. He was announced as a dance master on the Australian show Everybody Dance Now, a gig that should have marked his triumphant return. Instead, it was another disappointment. The show was canceled after just a few episodes due to low ratings.
Bye, Ashy.
Jason headed back to the studio and started recording music. Between 2013 and 2015, he dropped 3 albums in an attempt to regain momentum. Sadly, no one cared. His 2013 album Tattoos wasn't even certified in the US. A few years later, his career hit its lowest point. Variety website reported that he hadn't had a major hit in years and had quietly faded from view. The same artist who once had been hailed as the future of R&B and pop was now an afterthought in the very industry that once worshipped him. Part of it was timing. The sound of pop had changed. Listeners were gravitating toward darker, moodier production and artists with rawer, more authentic storytelling. Jason's brand of glossy, auto-tuned optimism felt out of place in a world that now wanted vulnerability over perfection. There was also the problem of identity. Jason had built his career around versatility, but somewhere along the way, versatility turned into invisibility. He could do a little of everything, but nothing that defined him.
Jack of all trades, master of none. Okay.
Jason later opened up to Billboard website about the confusion behind the scenes. He admitted that after rising to fame so quickly, his team didn't know how to build a lasting image around him. He said, even though I had sold millions in America, people still didn't know who I was. Another problem was the fact that Jason was marketed as an R&B artist when he clearly wasn't. His manager said this confused his audience, who didn't even realize that Jason was black from the sound of his voice. The industry thrives on artists who fit neatly into categories, and Jason never did. Since they couldn't find the right lane for him, his label gave up on trying. Jason told the US Sun website that after years of being underappreciated, he decided to leave his label in 2020. Once he left, Jason thought he would have his pick of record labels to work with, but none of them were banging down his doors. Throughout his career, Jason had built a reputation as the nice guy, but in 2022, that image cracked. According to TMZ, Jason got into a physical altercation in Las Vegas after 2 men allegedly called him Usher.
Usher said, now why am I in it?
He hit one of the men, slapped the other, and had to be escorted out of the hotel. The men chose not to press charges, but the damage was done. The world had seen a version of Jason that didn't fit the brand. Then the following year came another blow. Reports surfaced that Jason's longtime manager and mentor, Frank Harris, was suing him for $1 million in unpaid commissions. After 23 years of partnership, the man who had helped shape his career claimed that Jason had walked away from their oral agreement when they parted ways in 2022.
Child, where that boy supposed to get $1 million from? That boy ain't got no $1 million.
While these incidents might have shown a different side of Jason, fans and the world would really start watching him closely once other events came to light.
Other events? Lord have mercy.
His public image has also proven to be his downfall. As a black artist who was more pop-oriented, numerous fans thought of him as a corny kid who lacked swag and coolness. Then the memes came. A photo of a man falling down the steps at the Met Gala was incorrectly identified as Jason. Even though Jason confirmed it wasn't him, it didn't stop people from clowning him. He would also face a serious situation that would turn off numerous fans. In 2023, a woman named Amaza Gibson, who was signed to Jason's label, filed a lawsuit against Jason for harassment, unwanted advances, and aggressive behavior. She claimed he reached out to her a couple of years before to sign her to his label and work with him. As they started working together, Amaza said Jason invited her out for dinner and drinks, but she declined in order to keep their relationship professional. He also wanted to drink with her in the studio, but she kept turning him down. One day, she gave in, and Amaza claimed that Jason kept trying to give her large amounts of alcohol.
Oh, creepy ass. Ew.
Over time, he allegedly made it clear that she needed to blow his back out if she wanted to go far in the music business.
Far like he went far. Like you, I'll pass. Hard pass. On a career like yours, Jason Derulo, I'll pass.
And then came the weirdest claim of them all. Amaza alleged that Jason wanted her to participate in a goat ritual that involved sacrificing the animal and getting intimate.
What in the Illuminati is going on here? Fix it, Black Jesus.
After he allegedly charged at her in front of her mother and other people, Amaza said she was dropped from Jason's label.
Did you say charged at her? Like a bull? Like charged? Like do your foot back in the grass and put your head down and run towards him? What is wrong with that boy?
Jason denied the allegations, but the suit continued until it was dismissed due to a technicality. Like many others stuck at home during the COVID-19 pandemic, Jason turned to TikTok. What started as casual fun quickly became a second act no one saw coming. He posted playful videos, family moments, and comedy clips that showed a lighter side of him. Within weeks, his page exploded. His content began racking up millions of views. TikTok had done what the industry hadn't been able to. It made Jason relatable again. This wasn't just a little fun side project for him, though. Before uploading a single post, Jason met with TikTok's head of music partnerships and artist relations. He told her point blank that he wanted to be #1 on the platform. The attention brought a flood of new opportunities. Suddenly, brands and partnerships were lining up. He released a book about social media strategy, launched a vodka line, and even stepped into storytelling with a graphic novel. In 2020, he earned his second #1 single with Savage Love, a track that dominated the app and the charts. Riding that momentum, he signed a long-term deal with Atlantic Records, structuring it as a 50-50 partnership with his own independent label. It was a power move that gave him both ownership and validation.
Well, I guess he did make a comeback, because I don't know who the little boy is. Now, I didn't know at the beginning of the script what was going to become of him, but okay, Jason Derulo.
He released another album in 2024 called New King, which peaked at number 82 on the Billboard 200 and was certified gold. As of this video, he's planning a tour for 2026. He remains just as active online, working tirelessly to engage fans across multiple platforms. His story is one of immense talent, quiet heartbreak, and the heavy cost of trying to be everything at once. Maybe his next tour will remind people of who he really is. Or maybe TikTok will become the stage where he finally finds peace. If you enjoyed this video, let us know down below. And thanks for watching RRG.